stay in Wonderland.
Question.
And I'll show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. I didn't say it would be easy.
Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. KouvRadio.com. I'm John Fogel.
James Sweet. Welcome, welcome.
Hey, KouvRadio.com. You are in the rabbit hole. And today's date is 12/30.
It's almost a new year, man.
Right. You know what? We did not wish everyone happy holidays. We didn't have the chance, really.
Yeah, we were kind of in between.
I think we had like
Merry New Year.
I think we had like I don't know, 5 sentences apiece or something like that. So we apologize for that. We didn't really we didn't do a whole lot of talking, but we didn't really have to.
It was good information. I mean,
right.
It was important stuff.
Right.
But yeah,
we at the same time we thank you for tuning in. At the same time, we kind of apologize for not getting you didn't hear us a whole lot, but Deborah had a lot to say, and I don't know. I hope you guys got the most out of that program as possible, because that stuff is super important on the smart meters and basically what's going on with the New World Order agenda out there, and make no mistake.
Agenda 21.
Right. The whole NASA war documents, and I mean, it was good information. And if you didn't get a chance to listen to it, maybe you'll get to listen to it on podcasts. Wayne, I don't know, man. I don't know if anybody's still downloading our stuff. Do you know anything about that? Because I was looking, and I don't know if
I'm hiring someone on Monday. So
are
another $1,000 a month we're going to make sure this stuff gets taken care of. So
awesome. That is a preemptive strike by producer Wayne ripping Roche.
So the interview is Wednesday, and they start on the 2nd. So
and also the Ducks are winning the Holiday Bowl. I'm loving that.
The toilet bowl?
Go Ducks. Right. Yeah, it's right next to the toilet bowl. You know, it's still, at least it's a bowl game. You know, I was kind of expecting to see the Ducks in the national championship again, but
wait, now it's Blazers. Everybody's on the Blazer ride.
I am so not a basketball guy. But you know what? It's awesome. I worked the 1990 and the 92 finals as a security guy for a company out there, but back then it was the Memorial Coliseum. It was just for the...
Well, I remember as a kid, you know, one of the things that my dad would do is take me to the Winterhawks games. And, you know, when you're a little kid, you don't realize that these are just high school kids beating the crap out of each other on ice.
Right.
But, you know, hell of a lot of fun. So,
it is.
You know, I miss going to the hockey games. And, yeah, I've seen a few Blazer games. My grandfather worked at the Coliseum. So, you know, you'd be around the players once in a while, and it was kind of neat.
Yeah, I got to be on a first name basis with a lot of those guys, like Kevin Duckworth and Clyde the Glide, and you know it was cool. Buck Williams and
Buck Williams.
Yeah, it was Buck Rogers' brother. But thanks for joining us, man. We got a lot to talk about tonight. First of all, I'm going to give out the phone number, which is 360-977-5483. 360-977-LIVE.
You're looking.
I was.
You had it memorized earlier.
I did. It's funny, too, because I've given the number out, 5 trillion times on the show, and I just can't remember the number.
Right.
You know, it's Illuminati plot.
Also, too,
erase my memory.
We if you hadn't noticed on our Facebook site, we've put up some pics. We did a little photo shoot, and we got to give a shout out to our bro who did the photography on that. Jeff Allen. He's a DJ as well. He works for 95.5.
95.5 on Saturdays, yeah.
And being you know back in my band days, he was a guitar player in my band, and he's done real well with this photography thing. So
right. If you want to check out his site, go to www.facebook/Orion's Eye Photography. The guy's top notch, Gary.
Top drawer.
He's top notch. He's awesome, and I mean. We've been friends with him for 20-plus years, you know, so it's like we know him really well, but he's done pretty good for himself, man. He's awesome photographer, super fun to work with, easy going. It's not like a big stressful thing. We had a lot of fun. There's a lot of cool pics. You can go to see some of these pics on www.facebook/DeepIntoTheRabbitHole and check them out. Went to Stonehenge and had a good time freezing. We were freezing our angles off.
We got a little bit of rain in there, but it worked out. Shots turned out really good.
Yeah, they did. We are going to be discussing ghosts.
And whatever. We're free balling, right?
Yeah, we are, but the main subject tonight is ghosts. Now, we're going to give away some swag to
pimpin' swag.
We're going to give out some swaggery to those who have the best stories. If you have a really super cool ghostly encounter or a spiritual phenomenon, or if you've encountered dead relatives, anything that is super cool paranormal, give us a call at 360-977-5483. Share your story with us, and you will get a free Rabbit Hole T-shirt.
Which, doesn't that maybe fall under the karma thing? Like if you had like a mother-in-law you couldn't stand, and then she haunts you after she passes. I mean, that's just bad luck, right?
Right. A mother-in-law or an annoying aunt or something like that, or maybe it's even your own mother. Who knows? You'll be sleeping, and all of a sudden the bed shakes. Brush your teeth, Billy. Billy, brush your teeth.
Well, it's bad enough being haunted, or having some sort of strange poltergeist activity. I mean, researching some of the stuff, I saw some crazy stuff, chairs stacking themselves and going to the ceiling. I mean, to me that seems like some sort of portal type thing happening,
Well, it probably is. Here's the thing, everyone tries to pretend to know what happens after death. You've got all these experts, out there, quote-unquote experts, that pretend to know exactly what happens when you pass. And you know what? Nobody does. You don't know. I mean, I've had some near-death experiences, and I am 100% certain you move on, but nobody knows for sure exactly what happens. And I think we all have our own idea of what heaven is or what the afterlife is. I think it's a little different for everyone. But for whatever reason, some spirits either make a choice or they are stuck in between. Now, that is the part that kind of freaks me out. I want to know that there's something to go on to that's better. And the near-death experiences I've had, I felt that way, but I didn't project all the way there.
Right.
But, I mean, that's hellish to me. Could you imagine being stuck in between? And apparently some of them don't even know it.
Well, the freaky stuff to me is when, you and I are both big fans of the GA team, the Ghost Adventure guys, and it's creepy to me when they get an intelligent response.
Exactly.
Especially when they're asking questions and they get responded to.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's a lot of controversy with these spirit talk boxes and things like that, but
yeah, I'm not entirely on board there either, but like you said,
they're hard to dismiss sometimes.
They're answering exactly the question that is being asked of them, and that's where I have to go, whoa, hey, wait a second, man.
Right.
Because some of them seem to be like astral projections that are in a constant loop. Like, oh, we'll see this lady at the window at such and such time. She's always doing the exact same thing. Now, that would, to me, tells me that that's a spirit who is unaware. They're kind of maybe it's like a space-time continuum thing where it's just history looping itself in the fabric of space and time. Marty! McFly. And then other times you have, like James just said, an absolute intelligent response to a specific question, and that is what freaks me out. I mean, that's hell to me. That you're stuck, and
go to the light.
Some people will do research and they'll find out who this person is. The person sometimes will even give a name, and from all accounts, the person was an okay cat. This guy or this girl was a good person, treated people well. So it tells me that it's not a punishment thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of maybe it's a choice, or some people think it's unfinished business.
Like Bridget Bishop. I think she was a barmaid in Salem during the Salem witch trials, and she was burned for being a witch.
Yeah.
And they received the name.
I didn't know that. Who did this?
Ghost Adventures.
JC did it.
Yeah, and it was. I just watched this one, so it's an older one. I think 2011. But
so they got a name.
They got first and last name. They even asked if she actually practiced witchcraft. It was hard to make out. It sounded like either she did or she didn't, but it was it was just kind of rough making it out. But they got Bridget Bishop out of it. So
Bridget from the UK.
So it was cool.
Now, James, you know that I've had several experiences. I've had a lot of spiritual experiences. I'm kind of a lightning rod for it, if you will. I don't know why that is, but for whatever reason, It happens a lot. Not so much nowadays, but maybe I'm kind of closing myself off to it. But, man, in my younger days, I really was susceptible to that. What about you? I know this stuff kind of freaks you out, particularly.
And I've had a few creepy moments in my time, too. Just stuff that I didn't understand, and it didn't make me want to go and pursue searching for ghosts and understand it. It made me just say, you know what, I don't want nothing to do with that crap. And yeah.
So it kind of freaks you out.
It does freak me out because it's something you can't see sometimes.
Yeah.
You don't have any control over any of the I guess intrusions.
Okay. Now, again, that number is 360-977-5483. If you want a free Rabbit Hole T-shirt, give us a call and tell us your story. There is going to be a bit of a competition here, so if anybody has the cojones to call in, because it's really not that big a deal. Just tell us your story. We've had a lot of callers, a lot of people call in. Nobody's ever.
Oh, but it is a big deal. It's Rabbit Hole swag.
Right.
But I mean, swag, baby.
It's not a big deal being on the air. It's not like you've got millions of listeners, and even if you did, that's cool. We'll record it and send it to you, man. You can listen to it on the backlog. So, James, you were talking about something that happened to you and Nell. It had something to do with like an odor in a car, and you found out someone passed. Why don't you tell us that story?
Well, that was actually it was Christmas Eve. My stepfather was dying of cancer, and he was in the hospital. And it was Christmas Eve, and my wife and I went to visit him. It was kind of that. It was on the downhill spiral.
Yeah.
And so we went and visited him at the hospital, pretty much thinking it was the last time, but you just never know, how long they hang on for. But as we were leaving the hospital, we were in the car getting in the turn lane for the signal to get back on the freeway. The entire car just filled with this odor, and you had this sensation of death.
Did you have chili that night?
No.
Okay. Just thought I'd ask. Sorry.
So anyway,
whoa.
Oh, hi-yo. It was. You sense like the Grim Reaper was sitting in the back seat. I mean, that's what it felt like.
Well,
it was bizarre.
When you say odor, what do you mean? Like something dead? You said something.
Nell said it smelled like
decay,
flowers, like funeral flowers.
Oh, okay.
And to me, it was just the weirdest sensation and smell and feeling and odor, and you just knew something from somewhere else was in the vehicle with us.
Okay.
And to me, that was sort of the confirmation of a goodbye. Mm-hmm. And that's what it felt like. And my wife remembers it just as clear as I do. So it was interesting. But
how long ago was that?
Oh, geez. Several years. I mean, over 10 years.
Okay.
So.
See, now, I've had a ton of things happen to me, and I could spend the entire show just telling my stories. That's how often it's happened to me, and I'm pretty sure I'm not crazy entirely. So,
a little nutty.
I am a little nutty, kind of like squirrel poop, but. It's one of those things that like you said, it's confirmation. I think that's what it is. When my father was passing away, in fact, I was on a train, or I was going to be on a train. I took one more trip because it seemed like he was going to go. He was in hospice, at home. And God, I thank my mom so much for letting my dad stay home, not having him be in a hospital. That was so much better for him. But I got the call from my wife. She's like, Johnny, you need to come home now. And I was like, crap, So the railroad, bless their hearts, sent me home immediately. I thought a helicopter was going to land at the hotel and take me home. I mean, they were like, I don't care. If you don't have a ride there in 5 minutes, call me. The manager for the railroad was like, I will personally pay out of my own pocket to send you home in a cab, and I'll have them stand on it,
Yeah, they did that really well for me as well when my daughter was being born, so that was cool.
Right on. So, I get home, go straight out to the house, and my dad, he wasn't coherent anymore. so they had him under with the or what do you call it? They had him all morphined up, make him comfortable.
Right.
So I didn't get a chance to talk to him, but I talked to him a couple days before, so I'm at peace with that. But I said to him, one of the things I said to him was, I was like, give me a sign, let me know you're okay. Give me a sign. Okay, so that night was the first night our entire family, me, my brother, my sister, my mom, and Pop, were all slept under the same roof. It was the first time in 20 years. And I think he was waiting for me. So he passed. And then it was about 4 days later, I'm down in my basement. It's kind of a daylight basement. You've been in my house. It's not really a basement, so to speak. But
right. It's a place to masturbate if you like Kansas City Chiefs.
Right. It is kind of I've never heard it put that way, but hey, there it is. I like it. So and I have. But anyways, I'm down there. We used to have this great big huge entertainment center. It was just a monster, man. My wife was really into this skip peel pine home handmade furniture. It weighed like 10 billion tons. So I'm down there and I hear this big pop on the entertainment center, and I'm like, whoa, the wood's settling or something. I'm still in a funk over my dad. It was like 4 days, like I said, 4 or 5 days. And I heard this big pop on it, so I got closer to investigate it. So I'm standing there and got my face right in front of it, and boom! Something hit the wood in front of me so hard that I felt the wind on my face. Nothing fell down because I was standing right in front of it. Dude, it was like, remember Jim Carrey in Ace Ventura when the shark comes out and he goes, and he's falling backwards? Dude, that's not Snowflake. That's not Snowflake. So I fall backwards, and I'm like, ah! I run upstairs and wake my wife up, who's dead asleep. Dude. It's like 2 in the morning. I'm like, honey. My wife, 5'4", 120 pounds, come protect me. I'm like, hey, something's going on downstairs. She's like, what are you talking about? I was like, something's going on downstairs. You need to come down there. No, naturally, she didn't. Everything's fine. She went right back to sleep, so I'm like, crap. So I go back down there. Now, at this time, I'm not thinking Dad. I'm just thinking something's up, and I'm kind of freaked out. But I went down there, and I kind of got pissed because I'm scared in my house. That's my house, man, So I set a chair down in the middle of the room, and I said, all right. I said, whatever you are, make a noise again. Immediately after I said that, bam, entertainment center makes another noise. And then immediately I started thinking about my dad. And I said it. I go, Dad? And I never heard it again. Never heard it since, never had a weird feeling since, but I think that was my sign. You know what I mean? Because, I brought it up to him, and here, 4 days later, maybe there's some weird transitional period they go through, they get like an introduction to
it's their last
the other
phone
side.
call.
Right. It's kind of like, okay, you want to give somebody confirmation, here it is, But I asked for it. I don't know if anybody else in the family did.
Right.
But I'd be interested to hear. But, yeah, man. So I think that's what that was.
Well, and it's sticking on this ghost topic, there's a lot of cool videos that, been checking out, and YouTube has some very sketchy bullshit that that obviously it's YouTube.
People put
crap on
stuff on here just to get a million hits.
Right. But there was the one about the kid with the apartment, Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Good stuff. I almost feel sorry for the cat living in that place.
Right, he's down I think he's in Tennessee or something like that, right? And his girlfriend is so freaked out she won't even stay there anymore. So he basically is just kind of holding down the fort, and he sets up a camera, and this guy catches a lot of stuff, man. You're getting orbs, you're getting doors opening and closing, you're getting lights turning on and off, and another thing is water, a faucet actually turned on by itself, and ran for a couple hours before you even noticed it.
Right. Well, the freaky one was the first one that I ever watched on there, which we posted some on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
We linked some on there. Is when, because you could see orbs. Mm-hmm. And when the acoustic guitar is leaning up against the wall, and all of a sudden you hear this strum of the guitar, that freaked me out. I'm like, wow.
It freaked him out worse.
It freaked him out. Yeah, I mean,
he goes, "What the f was that?" And he's like getting off because he slept on the couch. Because remember, he was like, "I'll sleep in the bed." And he goes, "Screw this, I ain't sleeping in here."
Yeah, I ain't sleeping in here.
Because that's where most of the activity comes from, the bedroom, for whatever reason.
Yeah. That was a good one. And then we had the maintenance guy going into the hotel room with the furniture that was turned all upside down. You see this apparition come out of the hotel room. That's scary crap too.
Well, another thing is the hall light flickers. I believe it's right before you see this apparition come out the door. That there's a light to that room, and it's the only one that flickers. Now,
I wish we could have seen inside the room, but this was all surveillance camera,
security
right?
cameras, yeah. And you see the guy going inside. Those of you listening, you can go to facebook.com/deepintotherabbithole, and it'll say 2013, like, very scary ghost surveillance or something like that. We have it posted on there, but highly recommend it. In fact, it's one of the most convincing pieces of footage you'll ever see, ever. It is fantastic. And the security guard, I believe his name is John, he's in contact with people at the front desk, and they're like, "Hey, John, you better wait for the police." You could hear a woman screaming. She's just, screaming from inside this room.
Right.
Other tenants were calling. That's the only reason this John guy, maintenance guy, went up there.
So there was a screaming going on.
Right. So
you could hear it through the camera.
Oh, absolutely. And he turns on a flashlight. He goes in the door, and because he felt like, okay, there's a woman who needs help in here. I'm not waiting for the police. She's getting murdered or something bad's happening here. I'm going to do something. He goes inside, and he's got his flashlight up. And about 20 seconds later, he basically comes running out of there. And he tells the guy on the radio that all the furniture is turned upside down, the carpeting is ripped up really bad, and the shower was on.
Running.
And there's nobody in there. And he is freaked out.
Right.
I mean, how do you explain that?
Well, you see a human-like apparition come strolling out of there too.
Right. It looks like a transparent type of shadow, about
Freaky.
6 feet tall. It didn't look like a woman.
I don't know.
That is some good stuff right there. Now, that being said, I think that sometimes people confuse shadow people with ghosts and whatnot. And I think that's a totally different gig.
Yeah, I mean, especially when the ones that are standing at the foot of your bed with red eyes, and I mean, those are some scary shadow people. The closet monsters.
Right.
Kids, I'm sorry, but they do exist. I don't want to freak you out, but
you've seen that?
I haven't seen it, but there's plenty of witness testimony of this kind of stuff, and I feel sorry for those people having to deal with that kind of crap.
Right. I have some cousins, female cousins that experienced a bunch of stuff, and like they had a shadow person that they would actually see walk out of the closet. Like actually walk out of the closet, and they were all freaked out over it.
I don't envy those people.
No.
Not one bit.
You know what? It's that simple. It's kind of like what Eddie Murphy said when he was talking about Amityville Horror.
Right.
It's like, oh, it's a nice house. Get out.
Too bad we can't stay.
Time to go.
The kids playing in the yard. And we got a nice roof on the house, and gotta go.
Yeah, there's no way. I just wouldn't stay there.
Well, and sometimes it doesn't matter because they attach to you and they'll follow you wherever you go, unless you figure out the Rubik's Cube secret to getting rid of them.
Then you don't know if it's you got to go to a shaman. You don't know if you have to go to a priest, or you don't know what you need to do because
get your sage and burn your sage.
Yeah, there's differences. Like if you're on a property that used to be Native American, it's considered sacred by Native Americans. Apparently, the only way to get rid of them is to get a Native American from that tribe that inhabited that area to perform some type of ritual for you.
I was watching a thing because me and my interest in werewolves. Scary stuff, but one of these Indian guys, they're very how do you say this? Superstitious on all of those.
Yeah.
All of those, ancient type of.
I'm making faces at James.
He's making faces at me.
Yeah. He knows exactly what I'm doing too.
But anyway, and they won't even say. Some of them won't even say like skinwalker or they're very hesitant to talk about any type of spiritual things like that. And you know, when you're talking about that stuff, it reminds me of, I guess, witches. You know, witches and their spells, and it takes somebody who really practices that stuff to know how to, I guess, avoid certain situations like attachments. And
you ever watch The Dead Files?
Sometimes.
Dude, that girl, I think, is the real deal. I can't remember her name. I'd love to have her on, though. Dude, I really do think she's the real deal, because she sees things, and then they'll go to the witnesses of whatever place they're at, and they'll talk to her, or they'll talk to them, and it's two separate investigations, and then she'll have an artist do a rendition of what she's seeing, and the witnesses will be like, holy crap, that's exactly what I saw. I think that she is the real deal.
Well, not to mention
Amy Allen.
Amy Allen.
Well, and, you know, we've talked about this before, is that the human eye can only see and perceive only a tiny, minute light spectrum.
Right.
Which, you know, ghosts and whatever you want to call them may reside in another spectrum of light that we just can't see or pick up on. Where, you know, you're always seeing your cat look around the house tripping out, and you're like, what are you doing,
cat?
And yeah,
even dogs, dude. Our dog Moxie, she'll be sitting there all of a sudden, she'll be like, she'll like turn around and look. Like, what was that?
Right. So, you know, they pick up on that stuff. And and so some of the drawings that Amy is, you know, shown on that show are just creepy as hell.
Well, she sees monsters. She sees demonic entities. And, and I mean, people could call what she has a gift, but I kind of would consider it kind of a curse. But she does good with it. She tries to do what she can to help people. And she tells them what they need to do and stuff. She's kind of an expert on that.
Right. Well, and the Ghost Adventure guys, you know, there's times when they're always questioning whether they're going to keep going on that or not.
Yeah.
It's because of the experience that they had, and bringing stuff home with them. And
it ruined Aaron's marriage.
Yeah.
I mean, it ruined his marriage. He said he brought something home with him, and it freaked his wife out and caused a bunch of problems, and you know, now he's not married anymore.
Yeah, that's...
Talk about life-changing. Screw that. Ghost ruined my marriage. He'll be on the cover of the Inquirer. That number is 360-977-LIVE, 360-977-5483. You want a rabbit hole shirt?
You know you want some swag.
Give us a call, man. We'll hook you up with a cool shirt. They're awesome. Who did them? It was
Chris.
Yeah, my buddy Chris, but I mean, he's not really what's the name? Blazing Stitches. Blazing Stitches did our shirts for us.
And they're in Portland.
Right. So, give us a call, man, if you want some rabbit hole swag. 360-977-5483, and share your stories. We've got a ton of stories that we can share with you. God, I've got a lot.
I got a freaky one.
Let's hear it.
All right. Well, back in my young youthful days, I used to drive for a living, delivering products to stores, and they would make me go up to Everett, Washington, and stay the night. So I would, you know, half the week I'd live in a hotel. This went on for a couple of years, and so I'd always stay at this Motel 6 up in Everett.
We leave the light on for you?
No, dude. Yeah, I mean, paper thin walls, I'll tell you. I've heard a lot of crazy stuff. But a lot of times I'd get to the hotel around 4 o'clock in the afternoon and get some rest, and then I'd go to the gym because there was a gym right next door, so I'd work out.
Get my pom-pom.
So I'd get my workout in, and then come back and hang out and you know, just chillax in the hotel. But so taking my little afternoon siesta, I wasn't fully asleep. I just had this weird sense, and I heard this strange growl right next to my face.
Did you have chili that night?
No, it was like an evil growl. Scared the you know what out of me. So I turned to look at what was next to the lamp, because it was in the direction of the little nightstand there, and I couldn't move. Something was holding the side of my face.
Interesting, because that reminds me of the stories you hear about the night hag that would sit on people's chests and give you sleep paralysis.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I went to turn to see what it was, and I couldn't, and just out of, shock or whatever, I grabbed the pillow and I'm like, Jesus Christ! I go to throw the pillow over, and then it just was gone.
Because we evoked the name of Jesus.
I guess
it has to be.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. But that freaked me out, because there was a lot of pressure on the side of my head. I could not move. So it was bizarre.
It wasn't like the ET experience. It was, you felt pressure.
Oh yeah, no, I felt a lot of hard pressure right on the side of my jaw.
Did it feel cold, hot?
No, just felt like pressure, and I couldn't move my face. And
any smells?
No, I was still freaked out just by figuring out what the hell growled at me.
Right.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Now, when I grew up, we had a little toy poodle. In fact, her name was Toy. And she was fairly young, and we used to let her sleep in the garage at night when she was young. This was before I used to sneak and grab her and put her in my bed with me, I was pretty young, maybe 12 or something like that when we got her. Now, in my bedroom, across from my bedroom, there was the kitchen, and my mom always left like a night light, like a stove light in there or something like that, So I would have a little line of light at the bottom of my door. Now, Toy was asleep in the garage, as far as I knew, for a long time. And
I think you told me this story. This one's good.
Yeah,
I like this.
This one, oh wow, this was like to the core scary. So I'm sitting there, and I'm in my bed, and I hear a scratch at my door. I'm like, whoa, Toy's here. So then I look, and I see that light at the bottom, and something was running by so fast I could hear the claws ripping into the carpet, going back and forth under the door. And I was like, oh, Toy, man, Mom forgot to put Toy away, before bed. And I was like, well, I'll go get the dog. Cool, great opportunity. I didn't want to sleep alone anyway, right?
Well, with the glow, this sounds more extraterrestrial to me.
Well, it could be. It could be, but it's kind of an unknown. It's definitely a paranormal thing. So it's going back and forth, and I can't hear anything, or see anything. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. I open up the door, and I'm like, Toy, come on, Toy. She didn't come. So I'm like, what the hell? So I go out, go through the living room, looking around. Toy, where you at? And I hear a scratch at the garage door. And then my blood went cold. Because if that wasn't Toy, what the hell was it? I open up the garage door, here comes Toy running, and she's all excited, she's tail shaking.
See, that sounds more ET to me.
It could have been,
especially because of the light. Because I just watched the movie, that old 1992 movie that was kind of based off Bud Hopkins and Intruders
with Christopher Walken, wasn't it?
Oh, no, that's Communion.
That's Communion.
Let me tell you something. Ah,
yeah, I had this watch. So, that freaked me out. In fact, when I went and laid back down and I had the dog with me, she started shivering, was freaked out.
Right.
And I became frozen with fear because I kept on hearing it. It kept on happening, but I was too afraid to look and see if something was going by the door. But I was frozen with fear. I was laying down. I soaked my sheets in sweat. I was frozen in fear.
You want to know what's really scary?
Yeah, okay. Now James is making faces.
That's pretty scary.
That is scary.
My kid thinks it's pretty scary.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to The Rabbit Hole with John Fogle and James Sweet, KouvRadio.com. We are transmitting from the morgue. 360-977-LIVE, 360-977-5483. Call us and share your story with us. We're supposed to have some callers tonight.
This is Area 52.5.
Right, Area 52.5. I don't know. We didn't advertise like we should have. I mean, we advertised a whole bunch, but I came down with the Ebola virus, so we skipped a week, and then we had
Deborah
Tavares on last week. So probably should have advertised a little more for that, but still, we want to hear your stories. We got lots and lots. We'll share with you guys all night long. But I'd like to hear. Oh man! So ask and ye shall receive, Lionel Richie.
Here, let me try to Skype the wife and see if.
Apparently, I have a cousin named Angie. I had no idea, but apparently she has a paranormal investigation crew that she works on. She's a nurse down in Arizona. I knew that, but I didn't know that she was like a part of a paranormal team. So that's kind of cool. But she was supposed to call in a couple of weeks ago, but I don't know. She might be working. She might not have time. I don't know. But she was supposed to call and talk about some of her experiences and her investigations and whatnot.
Yeah. I mean, those are the people in the field.
Right. I mean, I've done some
on the front lines.
Right. I've done some investigation, but not like super in depth. I'm more of a researcher on that than an investigator myself.
Well, and another interesting thing is that there's so much. The technology is for doing that is relatively inexpensive. I mean,
right.
Not to mention we have iPhone apps that have ghost hunting.
I don't know about those though. But
well,
you got some weird.
Your cell phone has the same type of frequency receivers that some of those other things do.
And let's face it, it's electronic.
Right.
Because we are energy, and our souls, I believe, are energy. They are electronic. There's some type of electricity there going on. And it's a proven fact that energy does not disappear. Energy transforms. It takes other shapes. If we are energy, then when we pass, we simply don't just cease to exist. The machine does, the body,
right?
But clearly there's something else that survives the death of the body. Of that I am 100% certain. What I am not certain on is what happens. I personally, and this is just my opinion, don't think that you end up going someplace in the clouds with golden gates and harps and I think it's something totally different. I think heaven might be what you think it is.
Heaven
if that's
isn't too far away.
So I gotta be careful what I say. James, he'll start breaking out the Lionel Richie and Warrant. So I mean, I think it's what you think it is. Maybe if that's what you think it is, maybe that's what it is for you.
Right.
I mean, heaven for me is being with friends who passed, family who passed, and like an old growth forest.
An old growth? I mean, are we talking like Sleepy Hollow type forest?
No, like old growth, dude. Just like how Oregon must have looked 5,000 years ago, 1,000 years ago. Could you imagine what the Pacific Northwest looked like 1,000 years ago? I mean, just full of life and fish so thick you can cross streams on their backs, and you got cool bears running around, and
a lot of wood, baby.
Right. I mean, it's so untouched.
Right.
Until we came and ruined it. And I mean, gosh, even when I go deep in the woods now, I'll be out there in the woods, all of a sudden I hear here comes a 747. Oh, that's cool. Or a helicopter or a park ranger truck drives by me.
Right. I mean, there's obviously some areas that are
virgin.
That are very virgin, untouched. I mean, there's a lot of uncharted regions of forest, but
right.
When you're 50 miles outside of the city, either way you go, there's probably going to be some sort of domestic noise coming in
right.
somewhere.
So those of you out there listening right now, even if you don't have a story, if you have an opinion, what do you think? I mean, what do you think happens after the body dies? I mean, what are your personal thoughts on that? Let us know. 360-977-5483, 360-977-LIVE. Give us your opinion. I mean, I go back and forth. a lot. I never, ever in my life have I ever thought that when you die, the worms go in, the worms go out, and you're just dead. I don't believe
right.
that. I don't think it's a chemical reaction. Your brain makes you feel like you're seeing your body from out. That's impossible. You know what I mean? I mean, on a physiological level, I think that has to be spiritual, right?
Right.
If your eyes are closed or even taped shut during a surgery and people above their bodies looking and telling the surgeon what he was wearing, what he said, that's different. That's audible. But what he was wearing, what kind of shoes he was wearing,
right.
That's way beyond someone just using, say, 98% of their brain.
Right.
I mean, that's very paranormal. That's coming outside the body. That tells me it's a dead giveaway that we are spiritual beings. And I personally think we are.
Well, it makes makes sense that the body is just a shell or an avatar for the soul or whatever you want to title the spirit energy that inhabits our bodies, and it seems like it's sort of like some sort of vehicle to experience, and you gain, I guess, power points for doing good in your experience, and I don't know.
I believe that. Now, here, I got a question for you. Now, going with the yin and yang, light and dark, good versus evil, what is your opinion on hell? Do you believe hell exists?
I think my opinion of like a hell would be like, sometimes when you have regret that you can't get rid of, it's sort of like a stain that you carry with you, like a bad energy that if you don't figure out a resolve before you pass it, that's kind of
So you believe in purgatory, basically. That's kind of how.
Well,
because a lot of people, this is their dilemma, is it a place with fire and brimstone and lakes of fire, or is it something else? Because a lot of people are, there's bad people, and then there's really, like your Adolf Hitlers out there, people who are just straight evil and harmful and purposely hurtful and mass murderers. Do they go to the same place as someone who just wasn't that good of a person?
Well, here's a theory. If, say, karma was something that was introduced a long time ago, and maybe there's certain species or beings that don't necessarily have karma. If karma, taking the Hitler thing, karma can maybe affect everybody on a species level. Like, when major events like the Holocaust happens, that bad karma can reflect on the entire race. You think so? Even those who don't deserve it? You mean? Is that what you're saying? Like it's a stain on everybody in that species? Right, and it holds down the spiritual growth of the entire species, and that's maybe some say that there's that intelligence that understands this, and that's why we have perpetual wars. Well, I'm thinking, I guess where I'm going with this is kind of more of a personal accountability. Right. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. So wouldn't that personal accountability have to be more severe than, say Adolf Hitler, or just some dipstick who was in the SS who worked for him in another country doing bad? There's got to be different levels of accountability. Now, right. That's another dilemma I have. Is I don't know if I believe in hell or not, but I kind of have to, because there is yin and yang, because there's light and dark, and there's good and evil. And if there's a heaven, wouldn't it just dictate itself that there has to be a hell as well? And that's where I'm at. I don't know. I don't know. And so that leads us to the ghost thing. Is it's somewhere in the middle. Right. And why is that? And why would God allow that? If there is a God and it's the same God that's in the Bible, why would this omnipotent being allow that to happen to people who were not necessarily bad? I just don't understand that. I guess that's just my human brain trying to comprehend omnipotence, which is impossible. Right. And then I don't go under the cop-out of God works in mysterious ways. I just don't. I think it's a cop-out. Right. I think that's the easy way of saying, hell if I know. Well, and that could flow on to the ideas of deja vu, synchronicities, things that correlate that we don't understand. Simultaneous lives. Right. Dimensions. There could be, another world just like ours, but in a different type of realm where we're different people. Right. It's just racks your brain. Right. Just a little bit. Have you ever had dreams where you were totally somebody else?
I've had dreams where I was totally somebody else working a different job with a different life, a different wife, different kids.
Almost like a past life kind of memory.
But it wasn't like, oh, this is better. I had no recollection of who I am. It was like, this is who I am. And I've often wondered if when we sleep, we go to our brain changes frequencies and we live one of these simultaneous lives.
Well,
and we get a glimpse of it.
What about, ask yourself this question. Why is it that if we're here on a learning experience, why is it that we don't retain our past life memories?
I think we do subconsciously. And that kind of touches up on the deja vu thing. I've been here before. I've done this before. I've seen this before. Maybe it's not in this life that you did. Maybe it was in a different one. Maybe it was in a simultaneous one. Shit, I don't know, man. I mean, that's why we do what we do. Mm-hmm. You know, that's why we decided to create a radio show to talk about this type of stuff. It's food for thought. I mean, naturally, James and I are super inquisitive people, and we want answers. So what we do is we search for those answers, and
which normally you end up with more questions than answers.
You do, but
that's the rabbit hole,
right? But you get different theories on how to address these other questions you have. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
well, if anybody wants some swag, give us a jingle-ingle at 360-977-5483. That's 360-977-LIVE. Give us a call at the Rabbit Hole.
Yeah, give us a call. We are going to take a quick little break here, and we'll be back in about 4 minutes. In the meantime, enjoy the tunes. KouvRadio.com, The Rabbit Hole.
This machine has crawled out of the ground, started torturing everything.
Checking out right now.
What is it?
9/11 was not an inside job.
You mean Europe?
No, Robbie, not like Europe.
Let the games begin.
Why are you doing this? We are bad men for the money.
Happy Hunger Games. And may the odds be ever in your
I show you
favor.
how deep the rabbit hole goes. I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Rabbit Hole. We we are so glad you're here to hang out with us here. We're doing the Ghost Show on the Rabbit Hole. That kind of rhymes. Kind of. We are kind of wacko. That number again is 360-977-LIVE. 360-977-5483. We think we got a call earlier from somebody. Sorry if we didn't get you there, but we will get you back if you want to give us a call and you want to share some stuff with us. So.
And those on the video feed, we'll be getting it back up here in a second.
Yeah, so you can see our ugly mugs.
Takes a second. There we go. Hi.
You know, I should have brought in a T-shirt to show people.
I have one. It's in the car, but
well, they can always go to Facebook.com/Deep Into the Rabbit Hole and check out that Shopify. It has pictures. It has front and backs.
Mm-hmm.
So, pretty cool.
Swag.
My neck.
You know you want some.
My neck, I'm telling you what, right now, I'm having a spiritual experience in my neck right now. Out of body. Speaking of out-of-body experiences, have you ever had one?
You know, I don't know.
I've had two.
I can't sit here and go, yes.
Right.
Because I don't know.
You don't remember?
I don't recall.
I've had two really profound ones. One, I was actually sleeping when it happened, and I think I talked about this on the show once, didn't I? I brought it up about that with the dolphin, and
yeah.
And I hate the dolphins. I like dolphins, but I hate the dolphins.
Right.
But isn't that weird though? Maybe that's my animal avatar or something. I don't know. But
were you a little high?
No. No. I was super sleepy McDougal though. I was really tired. And,
don't forget to tell.
But it was weird, dude. I mean, I got the whole 9 yards there. I got my face. I was looking down at myself, and my head was turned away from the clock radio. Saw what time it was, and and time lapsed. I mean, it went by, and 3 minutes went by, and when I woke up, I did the because clearly I wasn't breathing. So I think that might have been like a sleep apnea thing or something, and I
or when
left
you
the body.
Jolted back in the body.
Yeah, that was a trip, man. Because
you feel it.
Yeah, I involuntarily turned to where my face was up against the ceiling, and the sound it made when I went back into the body was a sound that, like when you're mating socks out of the dryer, they got that static.
Static electricity.
It sounded. It was electrical. There it is again. It was like an electricity sound as I re-entered my body.
You know, one person that really delved into the spiritual side of things, I think, that really captivated the idea the best, and we're talking about energy, is Nikola Tesla.
Yes. And
if you do some research on that cat, I mean, that guy, way ahead of his time.
Dude, he was way ahead of his time, and he was totally sideswiped by not Alexander Graham Bell, but Thomas Edison. Because Thomas Edison wanted to do electricity in a different way. Obviously, he won because he had the most political influence and money. But if we went with the technologies that Nikola Tesla and developed, we would be light years ahead. Well, yeah, but I mean like as in public utilities,
right?
You know, we had Tesla coils instead of all this other bullshit that doesn't work very good and is susceptible to EMPs and stuff. You know, the Nikola Tesla stuff that's not even susceptible to EMPs, even from solar flares like CMEs and stuff.
Well, not to mention the idea that you could utilize some sort of vehicle and energize it through power poles where they just suck up the energy field from these conductors. Right. And you know, that I think that stuff's hidden away somewhere. Somebody's using it somehow.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you've got like on I believe it was the UFO Hunters, they had an episode where, you know, that mad scientist guy with the long hair. That guy's so cool. But he the cool experiments he does, he had a little Tesla coil, you know, just in his office, you know, or his laboratory, his beat laboratory.
Yeah, but he got into, you know, spiritual, trying to contact the dead, and
so did Houdini.
And there was another group that did this, and what they would do is they took a little black box, right, and they would put film, just blank film, camera film, in the box.
Okay.
And then they would do like a spirit session, and then they would open up the box and it would reveal images.
What?
Sometimes writing on the images, and people had all kinds of speculation on whether it was you know, nonsense or some sort of hoax, and they couldn't figure it out.
How long ago was this? Whoa, we got a phone call, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, caller. You're on the air. The Rabbit Hole. John Fogel, James Sweet. What's
Welcome.
up?
Hi there. This is Angie.
Angie, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's good to hear from you.
Good to hear from you too.
So, Nurse Angie. Good for you, by the way, educating yourself and getting your nurse's degree and all that. I think it's awesome. There's not a whole lot of us who in the family who became successes.
Oh, thank you.
Good for you.
I appreciate that. And it's a pretty interesting field to go into, corrections nursing too. Pretty interesting.
So you
every day something different.
You also are a paranormal investigator, is that right?
Yeah, for about 9 years now.
You know, that's crazy because I had no idea. I thought I was the only one in the family who was interested in the paranormal and that kind of thing. And here you are, and you've been doing this for 9 years. How did you get involved in that?
Absolutely. Well, it's kind of an interesting story. My husband and I had a brand new house built out in Estrella Mountain. Beautiful area up here in Goodyear, Arizona. We had lived here probably about a year. All of a sudden, about 2 o'clock in the morning, every morning, all of a sudden, this pen holder on our desk just kept tipping over. And first couple of nights, I just kind of blew it off. I thought, you know, just crazy, you know, just nothing. And then the third night, I thought, okay, this is weird. And I woke him up. I said, it happened again. He's like, oh, you're crazy. Just go to bed. Well, I told my mother-in-law about it because she's kind of into this stuff. And she said, well, Angie, get a recorder. Go get a recorder and set it up. And I did. Well, I set it up, and I listened to it. And I turned it on, and the next day I listened to it, and I hadn't turned it on. It wasn't playing for more than 30 seconds. And I got a sound that said something like, and I about came out of my skin. I was so scared. I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting to hear anything at all.
Wow.
And to hear that, I just about died. And so after that, and and at that night, I had put my rings right next to the recorder. I had set them up. I had just cleaned them, and I had stacked them perfectly on top of each other. And that night, when I woke up, all of my rings were they were not on top of each other. They were all separated around the recorder, like next to the recorder, all are surrounding it. And that just freaked me out.
Wow.
And so I actually called a paranormal investigating team to come out.
Okay.
And who do you call? You don't call the police. They're going to think you're crazy. I didn't want to tell my husband. I didn't even tell my husband that I was calling them. I didn't want to think I was crazy.
Yeah.
So I called them out without even telling him. I called my mother-in-law.
Yeah.
She came out, and they came out and did an investigation and got all kinds of evidence.
Now, did you get any
EVPs?
Did you get any history on the home or the grounds?
There was no history on the house, obviously, because it was a new home. But there was what we found out was that there was a lot of history out here in this area. There was a lot of. They said that they had been out here doing a lot of investigations in this area. I don't know what was going on these grounds. What had happened out here before? What had happened long ago in this area, but
was the history
something had happened. Something was going on here.
Was it like Native American history, or was it like settler history?
It had to have been. It had to have been. We don't know. We never did find out, and we didn't pursue it. But we just found out that they had multiple investigations in this area.
Wow. So it was your own personal experiences that prompted you to begin your own investigation crew.
Yes, I did. I was so interested in it. I actually asked if I could go out on an investigation with them, but they were so impressed with all the evidence I had collected, with all of my EVPs and my photographs and everything, that they had actually invited me to be part of their group.
What's the name of your group?
The name of the group is the Arizona Paranormal Research Society.
Okay. All right.
They have a website. The tech, he's awesome, Randy. He's got probably about 80 YouTube videos. They're just awesome. We did about 4 or 5 sessions with Channel 5 News out in Yuma. We did some Halloween specials with Yuma news crew out there, and then also the Arizona Republic did a story with us out here. They followed us out here and did a story. So we've done a lot of media out here.
Cool. Now,
so it's been pretty interesting.
So in your 9 years of experience, give us your best. What was the one that just made your skin crawl and made you go, holy crap, I'm in the middle of a spiritual maelstrom here. There has to be something that just blew your socks off.
You know what? That is so easy.
All right.
And the funniest thing is it's the absolute very first one I went to.
Interesting.
And the funny thing is I was trying to be so cool, and because it was my first one, and I didn't want to be scared. And we went out to this house. It was a house, wasn't it? It wasn't a build. It wasn't a location of what am I trying to say? A business. It wasn't a business. It was a home, and it was a house out in Scottsdale, really nice house. And when this woman said that she had been practicing Wicca, which is not a bad thing,
right?
But she said she had been doing it about 10 years ago, and well, when we went in there, we had been using our K2s, which I'm sure you're familiar with those. They detect electromagnetic energy,
right?
An increase in electromagnetic energy. We also use EMF detectors. We're using REM pods, spirit boxes, all that kind of stuff.
Are you using the spirit boxes at all?
Yeah. Well, we're just getting into those. Those are pretty new. So we didn't have those at the time.
Okay. What happened?
When we first got there, we just had the K2s. We just had the EMFs. We walked in. All the windows and the doors were pegged. Everything lit up red, pegged red. And if you're familiar with it, you know that when you hit a red light with a K2, it's not very often that you get a red light. That means you'll get like a yellow, green. That means that you're getting some activity, and that means you're getting something. If you get a red light, that means you're getting a hot spot. You got something.
So were they went red and just pegged there?
Huh?
It just stuck there at red. I mean, did it fluctuate?
It stopped at red, and it was only around the windows and the doors.
Interesting.
And what that tells me is that if you're familiar with anything with black magic, when people practice black magic, it's a form of Wicca, but it's a black magic. That means that they're trying to call in evil. They're trying to bring in something, a negative energy,
right?
And not good.
And why someone would do that on purpose is beyond me. I don't understand that, but
exactly, I don't either. But what we found under the bed was a cauldron. That we found a cauldron with all the jewels and everything, by accident, and so all the doors and windows and everything was just pegged, and I actually started choking. I stepped out of the door to take a picture, and all of a sudden I started choking. I lost my breath. I fell to my knees. I couldn't breathe.
Did you get the sense that you were being choked?
We listened to the EVPs, and when I was choking, we heard one saying, "I made it happen." All the EVPs were just nasty, saying things like, "Get out, you whores."
Wow.
I mean, I don't want to get too vulgar on your show, but I mean,
that's okay. We're not regulated by the FCC.
Yeah, I mean, they were just terrible. Just bitches. You just get the F out of my house.
Was it a male voice?
Like to hear.
Was it a male voice or a girl?
It said tell it to the devil. It was just awful. It was the worst thing I had ever experienced in my life. It was horrible.
What a way to induct yourself.
I never experienced anything like it.
Yeah, man, talk about, what James just said, a way to introduce yourself. I mean, that was your very first one, and it was the most traumatizing one for you.
Very first one, yes.
Now, Angie,
I've never experienced anything like it.
Now, Angie, did you get the sense of being physically choked, or it was just you were all of a sudden unable to breathe? Did you actually feel pressure on your neck?
No, I didn't feel pressure. I just felt like all of a sudden, like when... like when you, like if you're drinking something or something, like if like, you know how people say, oh, it went down the wrong pipe.
Yes.
You know, and you just can't breathe.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it felt like. It's like all this stuff, and I was just taking a picture. I wasn't drinking anything. I wasn't doing anything. I was just taking a picture, and then all of a sudden I just couldn't breathe. I just fell to my knees. I couldn't breathe.
It
happened suddenly.
With such a, I guess, a traumatic first start, did you question continuing?
Absolutely not. No.
Good for you.
I loved it.
Good for you.
No.
That's that Fogel gene.
Yeah. I know it sounds crazy, but no, no, I wanted to do it even more. It just interested me more. It's like, why did that happen? What made that happen? It's like, what is out there? What?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
it was interesting.
Have you come across anything? I'm sure that the stuff that you've come across has seemed intelligent, right?
Oh yeah. In fact, I have some a lot of EVPs here that I have set up on my computer. If we can send them to you, that I've actually spoke to. I have, in fact, the woman that was at my house that we had the investigative team come to our house at Estrella Mountain. She actually spoke to me. I was sitting in the living room, and I said to her, I said, okay, I'm going to be listening very carefully, okay? And she said, what room will you be listening from? And you can hear it quite clearly on the recorder. And in another recording, my little girl, she was about 1 or 2 at the time. She was sitting on the bed. She was crying, and you can hear this same woman come in, and you can hear her say, "Oh, you want your mama?"
Whoa!
And it's very clear, and we have the recordings, and I have them set up. We can try and send them to you if you'd like.
So would you your paranormal crew be willing to let John and I come on and bring a film crew and get some of this for the Rabbit Hole Chronicles?
Oh, I'm sure they would absolutely be willing to do that.
All right, we'll try to make that happen.
So, Angie, you've been doing this for 9 years. You just gave us your most profound experience. It was your first experience. Now, James and I were discussing earlier on the show why some of these people seem to be trapped in between. In your decade of experience, have you drawn any conclusions on why some of these people, because they don't seem to be evil, they're not always nefarious, they seem to be sometimes good folk. You talk to people who knew them when they were alive, and they're like, I can't explain it. This person was religious, and so on and so forth. What conclusion have you drawn on why some people are stuck in between?
You know, I've thought about that a lot, and because my take on it is, I'm not a real religious person. I mean, I believe in God. Mm-hmm. I don't go to church a lot. In fact, I don't go to church at all. But I do believe in a God or a higher being. Sure. But I don't believe. I just can't believe that a God would leave a little child stuck somewhere.
You know you just tore a page right out of my own book. Right there.
Yes, like you see a little child, you hear about children, ghosts in a house, little kids. Why would a God leave a little child stuck somewhere forever? There's got to be like there's something else. There's realms. They've got to be able to travel. There's got to be other things going on there. And I don't understand it, and that's why we do this. We want to figure this out.
Yeah, that's why James and I created the Rabbit Hole, because it's not just ghosts and stuff. We do cryptozoology, paranormal type stuff, ufology, because we want to know. Mainstream media, you're only going to get so much information out of them. They're only going to tell you what they want you to know, and it's like, and I feel like the religious stuff muddies the waters as well, because I'll go to authorities on, like priests and whatnot, and I'll ask them the same questions, and I always get some weird cop-out 2-second answer. Oh, God works in mysterious ways, and it's like, that's too mysterious. Like you said, Angie, why would a 2-year-old be left destitute in the spirit world in between? They don't deserve that. And another answer I'll get for that is, well, they haven't been shown, they haven't been baptized, or they haven't been taught about God, or I don't believe that either. That doesn't sound right to me. It's not right.
No.
So, I mean, I'm just kind of stuck on that, I guess, and because that's a frightening thought. God forbid something ever happened to one of my children. I don't want to sit and wonder. Did they move on? It's heartbreaking. So.
Exactly. I totally agree, and I don't think that a God would do that to a small child. Any God that I believe in.
Right. Now, have you ever had anything follow you home, Angie?
Here's what I think about that. I think that they're everywhere. I think they're everywhere. I don't think that they follow you home. I don't think that anything evil followed me home. I think that if you want to look for them, if you really want to contact somebody, you could, because they're everywhere.
Yeah, I've had plenty of taking pictures inside the house, and you see these little orbs floating around.
If I got my equipment out that I have now and wanted to contact somebody here, I could. And in fact, I have.
Do you think
I could sit on my patio or in my living room, get my equipment out, my EV, my recorders, my all my stuff, and try and get some information, some EVPs or whatever, and get some information. I probably could, because I think that they're everywhere.
Do you think that some spirits, maybe they mature just like humans mature as they get older? Maybe in the spirit world you mature and you eventually figure it out. But do you think that everybody pretty much has that option, people who have passed? Like, for instance, if I wanted to contact my old man, do you think that it's a choice, or do you think he's bound by some type of law that he wouldn't be able to contact me or something? I mean, would I be able to do that, do you think?
That's a tough one.
Can you hear me okay?
I think...
I think you stumped the buoy on that one.
Did I?
I do, yeah.
You do think I could do that?
That's a tough one. I don't know.
Oh.
I think... I honestly think, and I think this because it's happened to me before when friends and family have first passed, I think they're able to let you know that they're okay and that they're comfortable and safe when they go. But after they've gone, I don't know about coming back.
Okay, 'cause James and I discussed that earlier. He had a stepfather who passed, and he got what he called a floral scent. Him and his wife both smelled it, and he thinks that was his goodbye. I got contacted, I think, by my dad 4 days after he passed. I don't know if you were listening to the show earlier, but I heard those knocks and stuff. And another time I was at my mom's shortly after my dad passed, and she gave me a vest of his. And I swear, I said it to her, I go, man, I feel like someone's putting their hand on my back. I mean, I felt it. I felt pressure on the small of my back, like my dad was put his hand there going, yeah, take it, it's yours. It was like a sense I got. But I agree with you. I think that it is in the beginning, shortly after they pass, they get kind of a liberty, if you will, to hang out with loved ones for a little while before they move on to the great beyond.
Right, exactly. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't even know if I'd want to try and contact them. I mean, I don't know. I think there's reasons why we don't do that. You know, I don't know. I mean, I have a lot of friends who have passed on too, close friends that have passed on, and I don't know if I even want to contact them. I mean, to what end, you know?
Right.
Or if if they need to, or if they feel like you're in trouble, if they have to, I think they're able to.
Yeah.
But I don't know that we're able to contact them.
Okay.
That's kind of my take on it.
Yeah. What's your opinion on Ouija boards?
I don't like them.
That's kind of the common
think they're
consensus.
trouble.
Yeah, they seem like a pretty nefarious gateway.
Yeah. It's like you can go on to them trying to contact one spirit, but something else comes through. It's almost like a...
But it's Parker Brothers kind of fun.
I've used them. I mean, I'm kind of a hypocrite because I've used them and I do use them, but I've probably, so much that I've learned since I've used them. It's probably a stupid thing.
Yeah.
Well, the original Exorcist case was done by a Ouija board.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what provoked it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's interesting.
So,
so what do you got going on? What do you before we let you go? Do you have anything an investigation coming up, or do you have any programming?
No, we haven't. Things have been pretty quiet lately, and I've actually got the itch. So I was excited to hear that you had this call going on, and if you're really interested in doing that, I know that Lori and Frank would really be excited to do that, and love to hear that you would want to get together with them. So I'd love to give them a call and see if we could get together and do that.
Sounds good, Angie. Hey, thanks so much for calling into the Rabbit Hole. We appreciate it, and definitely look forward to getting together with you. James and I are doing Rabbit Hole Chronicles, which is kind of a documentary and possibly going to turn into a TV series sometime, and we'll see if we can't get your crew out there, get you some FaceTime.
Yes, definitely. Give me a call, okay?
Awesome. Thanks, Angie.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate it.
Okay. Yeah, it was nice to hear from you.
Awesome. Thanks, Angie.
Okay, take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
It runs in the family, see?
I truly do believe that. I think I have it. I think my grandma or my
sister has it too.
Right. The Force. I think my Aunt Charlene had it. I think she was very spiritually adept. She was really plugged in. I think she had something. She was into like astrology and stuff like that. She did star charts and stuff. She did one on me when I was a young boy, when I was probably 10 or so. And basically she predicted the rest of my life, and she nailed it. A whole bunch of stuff. I don't really want to get into, but stuff that was very relevant, and she was dead on. So I miss her. She was awesome. She was an awesome individual.
Yeah, I mean, there was a one of those shows that I've seen where they had some people they moved into this house and they rented it, and it seemed to be that the real estate person, the owner of the house that rented the house, all these people, they were connected in this witch coven. So they kind of lured these people in, and they were having all these issues. And when they tried getting rid of the dark energy or whatever, they had to do some sort of cleansing with holy water, whatever, with the doors and the windows. So going back to what she was saying about, this sort of evil, I guess maybe their entryways.
Well, I've heard that from other paranormal investigators and on other programs that our doors and windows are portals.
Which may explain why we always see people taking pictures of things standing in the windows.
Right, and through doorways. And,
right.
Oftentimes you'll see orbs in doorways and
weird.
It is weird because it's a physical thing in our third three-dimensional world, when clearly they're not really in our three-dimensional world, yet they still choose to use our entries and exits in our physical buildings and stuff.
Right, but, you know, like you're saying, even though they're not in our realm, it's still creepy, the fact that they can give intelligent responses when asked questions.
Right.
That's what, you know.
And she said her team is getting a spirit box. So, I mean, they're gaining popularity.
I think they can work. I don't see why it would just be like a live feed of a EVP, right?
Right. At James and I's work at the railroad, we have a ghost, and we call him Carl. I'm not going to say why that is. I don't know if there's like legal issues there, but there was a cat who passed away at our particular rail yard years ago, tragically. And we get the occasional lights on and off. We get toilets flushing on and off all the time, randomly. And so James got this app on his phone, and we were like, hell, let's do an EVP session.
It's the Ghost Hunter app.
Right.
It's the best.
Awesome. Yeah, right. Top notch. So we did it, and what were some of the responses we got? We were like, Marine. We heard something that said
warning,
danger.
Yeah, it was.
And it said Marine. What were some of the other ones that were weird? But they all correlated. It was four intelligent responses, one word, 2 syllables. No, one word each, and they all had relevance to what our line of questioning.
Right. I'm not sold on it yet because it's an app, so I don't know if it could.
Dude, well, what's the spirit box, dude? I mean, it's just. But the thing is like you see Zach Baggins use it on Ghost Adventures Crew, and he's getting straight up intelligent answers.
Right.
Remember, like the one guy, he goes, "How did you die?" Gun. It's like, whoa. I mean, it could have said, paperclip. It could have said a lot of different things.
Envelope. What? You died from an envelope?
Yeah. How does that happen? That's even creepier. So, I mean, weird stuff. Hey, folks, 360-977-5483. 360-977-LIVE. Swag. See if you can beat Angie's story. She might be the recipient of an official Rabbit Hole T-shirt.
Well, you got to send her one anyway. I mean,
I'm gonna. She's fam. She's fam. You're getting one anyway, Angie. You're getting one anyways. But you know what? You guys want to call and get some swag? Give us a call. 360-977-LIVE. 360-977-5483. And share your story. We are talking about ghosts here at KouvRadio.com in the Rabbit Hole, and we want to hear your story, or even your input. If you have an opinion you want to give, it's an open forum here. We don't judge or discriminate. You can say your piece. If you think we're wackos, give us a call and tell us why.
You know, Jeff and I, the photographer there we were talking about.
What?
That's a ring.
Hello, caller. You're on the Rabbit Hole, James. Sweet John Fogle.
Hi, yeah, I was calling because I guess I had my own story, but I don't think I could top that other girl's.
What's your name?
Messina.
Lacina?
Where are you calling from?
From Texas, El Paso, Texas.
All right. Everything's big in Texas. Lacina, what's your story?
Yeah. Well, I got quite a few. Ever since I was little, I've always been able to, sense certain things. But here at my house, I've had quite a few things happen. Like, I'll be in my room, and you could hear glass breaking, like if a glass fell on the floor and it just broke and shattered. Mm-hmm. And I'll go look for something, and there's nothing ever there. And my husband always thinks I'm crazy, but my kids even feel certain things in our home. And one time when they were little, I was cleaning my home, and from my dining room to my bathroom, it's kind of like an L-shaped walkway.
Yeah.
And my kids were asleep. I was the only one up, and my son's high chair ended up from the dining room in the living room.
Standing up? And was it standing up, or did it fall over?
No, it just, it moved by itself all the way. It has it in about 10 feet, 15 feet.
Wow.
Of a push. Yeah. Just was it about a month ago? My kids, I'll have nightmares 15 minutes into my falling asleep. I'll have nightmares. So I'll wake up and I'll go get my kids and I'll make them come to my room and sleep with me. And my son, he has a hard time sleeping, and he says that he fell asleep and he woke up and he saw like a black shadow hovering over me. And I didn't feel anything that night, but he was pretty scared. And there's times I'll have, like, I'm having a nightmare and I can't get up. I guess I'm like paralyzed, and I'll start like moaning or whatever. My son will wake me up because he's like, Mom, wake up. And it's weird. I've never felt anything like that before. And another story, my husband, he doesn't believe me. And one night, we had fallen asleep, and all of a sudden we heard a door slam. And I woke up, and I told him, did you hear that? And he's like, yeah. So I get up, and I go check all the doors. There were none closed. My son, he sleepwalks, so I figured he slammed the door. But no, he was asleep on his bed. Walked around, all the doors were open, and I got back in bed, and I asked him, what time is it? And he looked at the clock. He didn't want to tell me. It was about 3:45.
So wait a minute. So you heard a noise in your house, and your husband didn't go up and check on it?
No, that's not the first time either. One time, we had just fallen asleep. It had been around 3 o'clock. We heard like a window break, and my husband whistles, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, well, they'll know I'm here. If I whistle, they'll hear me and they'll run out. And I was like, whatever. I get up and I run to check on my kids. They're the first thing I always check on. They were little. They had been like 5 years ago. So I run to check on them. They're both sound asleep. So then I go looking around the house to see, if there was a window broken, and there were no windows broken. And my husband comes out. We have a .22 rifle. There is no bullets in it. I hadn't had bullets in the house in like forever. And he's walking around with the rifle, and I'm like, what are you doing with that? He's like, well, if they see me with it, they'll get scared. I'm like, there's no bullets. He's like, I'll throw them the gun.
Point the gun at him and whistle. Point the gun at him and go.
Huh? Yeah.
So do you still have this stuff going on?
Yeah, just on Christmas, the day after Christmas, my nephew spent the night. He's 17 years old, and him and my son were here alone, and he heard the door slam, and he went to go look, and my son's room, the door was open when it was closed, because that door I always have it closed. And him and my little one, they got scared and they stayed outside until we got home.
So that wasn't Santa Claus?
No, because it was the day after Christmas.
Might have
they
been
already
Krampus.
opened all the presents.
So how long have you lived in this home?
Well, it was my husband's parents' home. They've had it since, like, I think 92. But me and him, we've lived in it for 12 years. We bought it off of my mother-in-law.
Okay.
So we've been here for 12 years.
And did it start right away?
Excuse me?
Did this stuff start right away after you moved in?
No, they've had it. It's happened to them. I think my understanding is I'm thinking they're a bunch of passerbyers, because right here where we live, it was the first county seat in El Paso, Texas. I live in San Elizario, which is a county, a suburb of El Paso, Texas. It's in the county, and it's where they had the first Thanksgiving back in, I don't know how long ago. They had the Salt War out here also.
Yeah.
So they had a lot of like fighting and a lot of deaths and stuff like that. So that's what I'm thinking, is it's a bunch of passerbyers that I guess were involved in whatever happened a long time ago.
Wow.
That's
interesting stuff.
Even down here in the town, in the little town of San Eli, the church used to be a presidio, which is kind of like a fort. It's a church and a fort. And they do ghost stories out here. The El Paso, I don't know, the Paranormal Society down here.
Yeah.
They've done some ghost stories, and they show a colonel or something like that. That there's a colonel that walks around at night.
Wow.
At the little town square that they have out there. So yeah, it's not. I mean, it happens all around this area. So I'm pretty sure that's what it is. That's the only thing I could think of.
Wow, that's interesting.
Usually I'll go get holy water, and I'll start, like, when a lot of things start happening, and I'll start spraying the house with holy water and telling them that if they're good, they can stay, but if they're bad, they need to leave. They're not welcome.
Does that seem to slow down the events?
Yeah, it does. it helps out.
Well,
that
only works if you're spraying holy water while you whistle.
You have to tell my husband to do it then.
Yeah. Hey, Lucina, thanks. You know what? We're going to put you in the running here. Do you have Facebook?
Alrighty, well, thank you.
Do you Facebook, Lucina?
Yeah, I got you guys on Facebook. That's how I found this radio station.
Oh, okay, cool. So go ahead and give us a message so we don't give your private information out. You can just send a private message and it gives us your information. That way we'll put you in the running. If you win a shirt, we can send you one.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for listening, Lucina.
Thank you.
No problem.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, good stuff, man. Good stuff. So there it is, folks. 360-977-5483.
I always get, I guess, cringy when I hear about dark shadows looming around bedrooms. You know, those seem very more like a. You never hear anything good about dark shadows.
Right.
About like shadow people or black.
It's
entities.
not like it's a being of light.
Right.
Right. So
it seems to I guess harvinge negative things.
Right. It makes you wonder if that's what they all do as a vehicle. That's their vehicle. So it's dark and not of our realm, or it could be indicative that their intent is dark.
Well, and I've heard several stories about hearing things breaking, but there's nothing evident.
Right, like Lucina just said.
Right.
She said that glass, then she'd go in there and didn't find any broken glass.
So it's not uncommon.
And then that sounds like poltergeist activity.
Right.
When you have, breaking things being moved, like the high chair was moved 10, 15 feet away from where she knew it was at before.
Mm-hmm.
That's poltergeist type activity.
She should, I don't know, maybe try to contact somebody in the field to maybe investigate it a little bit.
Right, maybe even that El Paso Paranormal Research would probably be interested in coming out there and checking out. And most of these places will do it for free.
Right.
They're not going to charge you to come out, and they want to get good footage, to kind of make a name for themselves at your expense, if you will. But I mean, also, Lucina, you could set up, try to do your own EVP session, get a really good electronic voice recorder, and turn it on and see what you get out of that.
Well, there's you've probably seen it, but there was that one case where that guy had all those little creatures, and the one big tall one that was just giving this guy. Remember when he was lured in? Some lady was performing some sort of exorcism on somebody, and it vented into him because she told him to go to that business. He was a water delivery guy.
Yeah.
So basically, he gets this paranormal investigation team over. They do all this investigation, capture all that footage. Remember the swirl?
Yeah.
And then it was just like, yep, you got problems.
Right.
See ya. Good luck.
Thanks for picking that package up for me.
I mean, where does it go from there, I mean, the guy was still dealing with it. So, he was fighting it, though. He's like, you know what? I'm not leaving my home. I'm fighting it.
I'm a fighter. Come on, Tiger.
You're only going to take that so far unless you get some sort of, I don't know, I think it takes maybe a spiritual healing or cleansing of whatever it is.
And then it's kind of like, take your pick. What's it going to be? Is it going to be Native American? Is it going to be
demonic?
Catholic? Well, I mean, like how you want to cleanse it.
Oh,
what
right.
route are you going to take?
Right.
Is it just going to be burning sage around all the portals? I mean, what's it going to be? And hell, I don't know, man.
I don't think it matters. I think as long as you,
good intention.
right, as long as the person is performing the intent of removing whatever energy is there.
Right. It doesn't sound like Lucina has something that's like evil. It just sounds like they're just kind of like, yeah, we're here too.
But then again, it could, how they seem to staircase. They get worse. The more you acknowledge it, the worse it gets. So, I don't know.
All right, we got another caller here. Hello, you're on the Rabbit Hole. John Fogel, James Sweet. Welcome.
Hey, John, this is Angie again.
Hey, Angie. Long time no hear.
Hey, John, you know what? I just heard from Tony, and he reminded me of something that I really just wanted thought you should hear about.
Okay.
You know how we were just talking about how we were just reminded about when people pass away, how we're just reminded about when they died, how they let us know that they're gone in little ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, our grandmother Lucille, when she had a diamond ring that she loved, a carat diamond. Mm-hmm. She had it forever from my grandfather, right?
Yeah.
My grandfather, he died, and she was very, very, very upset about losing that diamond ring. She lost the diamond. We looked forever for that diamond ring. We looked through the whole house. We looked through the she had it forever for my grandfather, right? My grandfather.
You might want to turn the radio down a little bit.
I'm getting a little upset because this is a really, really sad story. But
okay.
We looked through the
You okay? We're here. Hello?
I'm sorry. We looked through all the bedding. We looked through the washing machines. We looked everywhere. Anyway, the day of my grandfather's funeral, all the family was over, and my aunt and everyone was sitting at the table, and we were all sitting there talking. And my aunt said to me, "Angie, maybe we should go and look for the diamond." And I said, Aunt Tanya, that thing's been missing for a year. We'll never find it. And she said, "Well, let's just go look." And I said, "Okay." And for some reason, we went downstairs. Mm-hmm. And we went downstairs and looked under one of the beds. There was 3 bedrooms downstairs. We looked under one of the beds. She lifted up the bed, and sitting on the bed frame was the diamond. The diamond was sitting on the bed frame.
Was that place searched before?
Was that before what?
Did it be like earlier when you were looking all over for the ring? Was that a place that was searched previously? The bed?
Well, no. I mean, we hadn't thought to look in the bed frame. I mean, we had looked all through all the bedding and the washing machine and everywhere she had been cleaning. We had looked through all the bedding, but we hadn't lifted up the bed.
Wow.
She's the one that thought to lift up the bed.
Okay.
So then we went down and she lifted up the bed and it was sitting on the frame. So anyway, we brought it up and she showed her. She says, "Mom, look, we found the diamond." My grandmother was so excited, so we went in the other room. The whole family was there. Mm-hmm. We showed everyone in the family, the diamond, because it was the day of my grandfather's funeral. Mm-hmm. In the kitchen, in the other room, was a Christmas cactus that my grandfather had bought my grandma. Well, while we were showing everyone the diamond, the Christmas cactus exploded.
Whoa.
Exploded all over the kitchen, on the ceiling, on the walls, everywhere.
Why?
Never heard of a cactus exploding before in my life.
I've heard of it before, but it was like
it did.
It was. I've heard of cactuses exploding before, but it was because it was filled with spider eggs or something like that. But there was no spiders. It just exploded.
Yeah, it just exploded. It exploded while we were showing everyone the diamond. And yeah, this diamond had been missing for a year. And she was very upset about it. And I don't know. It just. My brother had sent me a text message to remind me about that little story because we had mentioned it earlier about
Thanks for sharing that. Thanks for sharing that with us and all the listeners, man. That's a fantastic story, Angie.
Yeah, and that still gets me because I think that's incredible. I just think that is incredible.
It is. That's awesome. Thanks, Angie.
Well, thanks a lot, Don. You guys have a great night.
You too. Thank you, Angie.
Thanks, Angie. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Take care, guys.
Wow. That's good stuff, man. Wow. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you've got about 15 minutes here. You got about, 13 minutes. Give us a call, share a story with us, 360-977-5483, 360-977-LIVE, and see if you can top these stories off, man, because those are pretty good. Well, hello, you're on the Rabbit Hole. John Fogel, James Sweet.
Hi, this is Melissa.
Is this that lady I live with?
It is.
It sounded like...
I have a story.
All right, this is my wife, ladies and
it's
gentlemen.
not glamorous, but it's very real, and it happened.
Well, honey, you can't... You know what? You've already got like 30 shirts there, so I'm just saying. All right, go ahead.
Because you know I want the shirt.
Right. All right, go, baby.
So when I was 4 years old, my grandma died. And me and my sister, we shared a bedroom, and we were upstairs from the kitchen. But before we knew she had passed away, in the middle of the night, she just all of a sudden was in our room, and I just thought she was at our house, didn't think much of it. I was 4 years old, and she was talking to me and Cynthia, and this was the middle of the night. And my mom and dad were down in the kitchen, which the stairways from our bedroom was right off the kitchen, and they could hear us talking. And so Mom called us downstairs and said, why are you girls up? And I said, well, we're talking to Grandma. And she looked at my dad, and they were at the table, and they were both like something was wrong. And then they said to Cynthia, is Grandma up there? And Cynthia's like, yeah. And so Dad took me to the dining room, and Mom talked to Cynthia in the kitchen. They went upstairs and looked around, and we both had the same story, where my grandma was, and compared the stories and everything. So it was just definitely a very real experience, and we all remember it to this day.
It's funny because I've talked to you about my grandma's story, and those stories are so similar. Did your grandma? I don't remember asking you. Did your grandma say anything to you? Like what do you remember what she said?
There was nothing. No, there was nothing really relevant in that conversation that I would remember. I remember a doll. She gave me this like 3-foot doll. And I remember she was helping me get the hair untangled, things like that. I remember what she smelled like, but there was nothing like that. I do remember in the hospital, leaving the hospital when she was in the hospital, and just like, I'll see you tomorrow, and bye, Grandma, and giving her, kisses, and she said, I'll see you. And that was kind of the only thing.
Wow.
What the hell was that?
What was that, Wayne? Wayne's playing with stuff. All right, that's good stuff, and that's really similar to to my story, I haven't even really like talked to my mom about it.
What the hell was that? What was that?
We when we post a thing out on the live feed, we play a song that's muted in the background, and it's muted, and nothing came up, but the music came through for some reason.
Well, that freaked me out.
And I don't know what that music
what the
is.
hell
I've never heard that music before, so I apologize.
That's all right.
It was Grandma.
We for you. It was Grandma. Hey, thanks, honey, for calling and sharing the story.
All right.
All right, babe.
Thanks,
Can I get a
Melissa.
shirt? Okay.
Yeah, you get 30 shirts.
All right,
Take your
bye.
pick. Bye.
So, it's interesting that, we bring up this topic, the phones are ringing off the hook, and as we were coming into the building,
yeah.
As we were coming into the building, Wayne the Rippin' Rocher's mother was hanging out, and I wanted to videotape, get the interview when she was telling us about her UFO sighting.
Right.
And it's like when we get...
What?
Yeah, your mom saw
back
UFO.
in the 50s.
When she was a little girl, yeah.
But, when we talk about ghosts, it seems like there's tons of people who have,
ghostly experiences.
Paranormal experiences or know somebody who did. And so, yeah, it's, people are, it seems like they're more willing to divulge a story of ghosts rather than...
It's more socially acceptable, I guess. I don't know, which is weird to me because there's more evidence and video footage and eyewitness testimony of UFOs. but yeah, for some reason. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, you've got about 8 minutes to call us 360-977-54.
Ocho Minutes.
5483-977 live. So,
Cotton on the Ocho.
On that topic of grandmas, I will share my experience once we get a caller. This is very, very similar to my wife's story.
Say hi to my grandma if she's listening. Hi, Granny.
Hi, Granny. So, it was a Friday, and now this is going to be tough for my mom, but it was a Friday, and the only reason it was a Friday is because the next morning was Saturday morning cartoons. So, Friday night, I'm playing with a Superman, my Superman dude. I'm flying, Superman, and I heard the front door close.
Are we talking underoos?
No, I did have some, but I don't think I was wearing them then. I saw my mom dash. Oh boy, we're going back to a live call.
Going live.
Hey, you're on live with John Fogel, James Sweet, TheRabbitHole. Go ahead, caller.
Hi, John. It's Tracy. How are you?
Hi, Tracy. How are you?
I'm good. Do you know who this is?
I do. I know exactly who this is.
I feel weird calling, but okay, I've been listening all night, and I had to share a story.
Oh, thank you for listening, and go ahead. This is one of my football buddies' girlfriends.
See, everybody's got a ghost story.
Anyway.
I know.
I think this one's okay. I don't care if I win a shirt or not, but I just think it's worth repeating.
Let's hear it.
So, so my grandmother died like in 1991, and then my grandfather passed away in the late 90s, but he passed away here at my parents' house. And then my aunt passed away here like 2 years ago. Excuse me. And my grandparents did upholstery work and ceramics, and they made porcelain dolls, and they did doll shows and all this craziness. So after my aunt passed away, her ex-husband brought over a whole bunch of my grandparents' old things because, he wanted to get it out of his house and then keep it in the family with us. So he brought all this stuff over here to our house of my aunts that had been passed down. Anyway, so one night my dad gets up because he wakes up habitually in the middle of the night, and all of a sudden there's my grandfather in the hallway. Like he's walking out of his room to go downstairs, and he looks down the hall into the bonus room where we have all this memorabilia, and my grandfather's in there. And my dad is a very black and white person. He's super Republican, not like, he's just not, you can't convince him like easily about
he's old school.
Old school. That's exactly what I was thinking.
And he will full on admit, plain as day, I saw your grandpa. And we all are just convinced that it's because all this memorabilia from him and my grandmother came into the house, and this is where he died, and this is where my aunt died, and I think he just was kind of, I don't know, maybe want to check it out a little bit. I don't know. Just weird, because there were a lot of old photos that my uncle brought over, and just a lot of stuff. And and my dad just said, plain as day, I saw your grandfather standing right there, plain as day, end of the hallway.
Was he freaked out at all, or was he just kind of like...
Not at all. He was not at all. He said it was very calming. He said I walked out of the bedroom and I just looked up and saw him and was like, okay, yeah, whatever. You know,
wow.
Went downstairs, got his water, went back upstairs to bed, you know.
Wow. That's
but
very interesting. But
the weird thing is that my children have been born, you know, they've been raised in this house. They've had numerous sleepovers here with their grandparents, but in the last, 9 months since all this has happened, they don't want to, whenever they stay overnight here now, they want to sleep with my parents in their room. Like, they will make a bed on the floor. They don't, where they used to just go into their room, the spare bedroom where the bed was, and go to bed. Now they just are very, it's unsettling. And it's weird because we haven't shared any of this with them.
I was going to ask if they were privy to the fact that, you know, they...
No, they're not privy to it at all. And it was just like night and day. One day, everything was cool. They go to Grandpa's, spend the night, no problem, sleep in the spare bedroom. And then all of a sudden, after all this stuff started happening, the kids were like, no, we don't want to spend the night. And the only way you could get them to spend the night was if my parents let them make a bed on the floor by their bed.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, kind of trip.
Hey, that's good stuff, Tracy. Thanks for calling.
Hey, yeah, no problem.
Awesome. Hey, you going to be at the Ugly Sweater Party?
Probably not.
Oh. Well, never mind then.
Well, have a good time.
All right. Hey, thanks, Tracy. Thanks for calling. Keep listening.
Hey, I will. Talk
All right.
to you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So we're coming up on, aside from the top of the hour, ending the show, resolution. I mean, this new year coming.
No. I don't do New Year's resolutions.
Right.
But real fast, I do want to finish my story.
Oh, okay.
So it was a Friday. I'm certain my grandma passed on a Friday. My mom came. I heard the front door open. My mom went zipping past my bedroom door, and she was crying her eyes out. And I remember praying to God. You know, I didn't get it. I was like 6 or 7. I was like, please, God, make my mom quit crying. Please, God, please. And I went to sleep. I woke up the next morning watching Roadrunner cartoon in front of the TV. Yeah, and all my mom could say, she came through, she goes, Johnny, Grandma's dead. And she woo, zipped off. Well, I was sitting there thinking to myself, no, she didn't, because she was in my room that night. She sat on my bed. There was no lights on in my room, but I know that I saw her. She wasn't glowing, but she sat on my bed. My bed went, it went down. I could smell her. She was wearing those same horn ring glasses she always wore with the pearly, glasses holder. I smelled her. She smelled the same. She was dressed in, she used to wear floral print dresses all the time. And I talked to her, and what she said to me, this is the one thing that really sticks out in my head, is that she said, Johnny, heaven is what you think it is. And I said, is it bad? She goes, no, it's wonderful, but it's not what you think it is. And that stuck in my head forever. So,
do we have a feed? Do we have a line I can plug in?
We got a minute left here.
All right.
What do you got going on?
I want to say that you guys didn't get a chance to see this on Ustream. We had a Teresa that came in, and she lives locally here in Vancouver and is on a paranormal team. And she had kind of gruffly commented that, anyway, she made a almost negative statement, or pretty much negative statement, but I chatted with her online, and she was just like, I feel that if you have this gift and stuff, you don't really share it and talk openly, publicly about it. So she was kind of upset about your cousin openly talking about it. But I think
she's entitled to her opinion.
Yeah, she's entitled to it, and I don't think from chatting with her that she meant disrespect, even though what is said could definitely be taken as that. But I just want to let people know your brother was looking too. So you ready?
Yeah.
I hope I have the right channels.
I've got my wife here on the line. She's had all kinds of crazy ghost stuff. If we can squeeze one in. We're running out of time, honey, so make a fast one. You there? Can't hear. see here. Hang on. We're not getting you here. Let me see. How about now?
Hello? It's not coming over the headphones.
No, we got to get the right channel here. Oh, hang on. All right. How about now? Can you hear me now?
You hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go like super quick.
Make it fast. We're running out of time.
Okay, so we're talking about grandmas, right?
Pretty much. That's kind of the topic. Paranormal grandmas.
Okay, so 1997, my family is from Costa Rica, so I was home with a family who was taking care of me. I was asleep about 5:30 in the morning. I could hear somebody walking up the stairs, and so I wanted to pretend that I was asleep, so I turned my back to the door. So I hear the door open, somebody walks into my room, sits next to my bed, starts rubbing my head. As I feel this person rubbing my head, I realize that the only person who did that was my grandma. So I automatically jumped up to find nobody in my bedroom. Within 5 seconds, the phone rings. It was my sister letting me know my grandma had just passed away.
Wow. Well, there it is. I mean, that's proof. You know, some people disagree with us talking about this, but I think it's important to talk about this to people because it gives people peace.
A little bit of comfort.
It gives you comfort and peace. So, you know, again, everyone's entitled to their opinions, but I utterly disagree with that. So I think that's an awesome story, Nell.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
Thanks, Nell. Love you, babe.
Thanks. Love you. Bye.
Bye. All right, people, we got to get going. We're kind of stomping on the next show. If you guys you like the thrash metal, go ahead and keep listening. And
is that the metal show coming up?
Get your metal on, suckers. All right, thank you, people. We appreciate all the callers. And,
Happy New Year. And
yes, Happy New Year's. Make a resolution because I'm not.
We'll see you next Monday.
Like everyone else, you were born